Welcome back to the Building Code. I'm Zach Witovich.
And I'm Charlie Burtwhistle.
So good to be back in the studio. It's wintertime. It's the most wonderful time of the year. The whole shebang.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful, crispy 20 degrees outside today. But we did just have our quarterly town hall last night, so feeling very motivated after that.
Super hydrated,
absolutely. Ready to, get back to work and go to get after this next quarter. But it starts in the podcast studio. Zach, who do we have today?
Where you and I really make our impact.
Yeah, where we drive the most revenue for the business.
Yeah, so, it is that time of year, and this is a great time to reflect on your team. And so we're bringing on Joe Christensen from Cardinal Crest Homes, longtime podcast attendee. He's been on many times. I don't even know how many. And it's exciting that we get to talk to him about, what's been going on with his business. And we'll get to surprise him that we're going to
I'll be at the Builder Show
That's
this
right.
year.
You guys
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head, Zach. I feel like the past couple of years, obviously the construction industry has been crazy. We're getting into this time of thanks and holidays. So how do you ensure your team's doing all right? How do you make sure they're getting the most out of their job that they can be, and everyone's staying happy and productive?
Yeah. Well, without further ado, let's get Joe in here. Joe, welcome back to the Building Code. Second round, Cardinal Crest Homes, Kansas City. And wait, actually, fourth time? I'm being told I was wrong. Fourth time on the Building Code. Is that right?
I mean, I think it's the sixth.
Sixth time on the Building Code? Wow. Killing the intro right from the beginning. Welcome back.
For our new listeners out there who haven't caught one of the previous 5 episodes, apparently, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started in the construction, and then Cardinal Crest Homes as well?
Joe Christensen. Been in construction for a while. I'm 40 now. That's the milestone of your life, right? I turned 40 now, so I guess I can sound like an old man. But I've been in construction, I think, since an early youth, a young lad running around the hills of Utah and Missouri. I got in it early because my dad was just like a hands-on guy. And I got 5 brothers, and we did everything ourselves. We called the contractor last after we screwed things up. So we were in it for, I've always grown up around just doing work with our hands. We had some farmland. And when you work on a farm, you do everything yourself. You don't call anybody, like I said, until it's screwed up so much that you can't fix it. And then eventually I got my first job in construction was actually with an asphalt company. Before that, this is a long intro. I hope you're ready for
No, this is great.
By the way, before that, back in the day before the internet was big enough to send big plans over email, before AOL could really handle that bulk of, 100 megabyte 250 page plan. They used to have these things called runners in Las Vegas. I used to run plans to different sites from the printers, or not just from the printers, but from one office to another, to a subcontractor, to a site, because they had nobody else. So there was a lot of, I struggle to say this word every time, so you guys can make fun of me. Couriers.
A courier.
That's the word. That was like the first time I've said it right. So
yeah.
I'm actually proud of myself right now. But so it was like a fancy word for a courier, but you were a runner, and they would do it for legal firms and for contractors. So I did get into that. That was kind of a cool job when you're a high school student. But then I worked in asphalt in Las Vegas, and that's a horrible job. That's just like you're, in the trenches of hell itself in Vegas, and then it's hot.
I would say great place for it. The desert of Southern Nevada.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that I started there, and I happen to still want to continue the pathway.
It can never get worse. It will never get worse than this.
I started at the bottom. I was like, there's only good things from there. I did lots of crazy stuff in Vegas. I mean, at one point, I think a lot of people.
Yeah, they don't. But stays there for a reason,
I didn't even catch what you were saying until way late. Lots of crazy stuff.
So
didn't have of it. Most of us locked away in their little state, little safes they have for all the, whatever. So, lots of little careers, different things, worked for different subcontractors, eventually got a job with a GC and decided I wanted to get a construction management degree, and did that. Went to UNLV for a while. Eventually went to BYU and graduated with a construction management degree. And that's where I actually met my business partner. And now it's starting to sound like a love story. So, we met, he was across the hall from me with locked eyes.
Yeah.
And we were crazy enough to think that it was a smart idea to start a company I was a little older at that point. I'd gone back to school. I was 29, excuse me. And at that time, 2010, the market was trashed from the 2008 crash. And so we ended up deciding, let's start Cardinal Crest and in 2010 and go for it. I was married, but no kids, and he was the same boat. And so we said, well, we talked from one low point, the bottom of the asphalt, legitimately hell. And then there was another low point, which seems to, be maybe the little theme of my life. But on to 2010, we decided, there was no jobs for, residential construction at that time. I did get an offer to be like a draftsman because I drew a lot of plans at that time and learned Revit architecture for a home builder in Utah. But like the salary was legitimately, I think the offer was like $32,000 at the time a year. And I was like, I could work from Home Depot and then like do remodels on the side and make more money than this. Like, why would I do that? So those were kind of the jobs that were being like pushed around that were just really bad. And I'd already done, a lot of labor stuff myself. So anyway, 2010, we started this puppy with a couple of remodels and some basement finishes. And we were able to pool enough money together from crazy hard money and other loans to actually start a model home. So that's how we really kicked this off. And sometimes I don't know how many times I've shared that through different podcasts about our story, but it is an interesting part because we took a ton of risk at the time. And I think it's important to think about because we're entering in a different era in this next year or two that we'll have, lending has gotten tight again. And in 2010, nobody would loan me money. And let alone because I'm coming out of college with little experience as a business owner. So we actually found some creative ways to finance it. Risky at the time, for sure, but it paid off. And sometimes, that's the way life goes. You got to take a risk and put it all out there and work backwards from there with what you have, because no one was going to lend me money at a decent rate. So I had to go some hard money and some ridiculous rates, but I had to work backwards and make it cheaper in other ways or less expensive, do self-perform more work or, figure out a way to still build a house. So built that first home. The story's getting long. Built that first home. And then from there, things just kept getting better and better. Never would have thought in 2010, would we be building 15 homes a year, 20 million plus in revenue a year, easy. And where we are at today, to have an office, to have 12 people on, 10 people on staff plus a commercial division. It kind of exceeded my wildest expectations because in 2010 it was just like, geez, this thing. Everybody was so down in the dumps of housing because it had legitimately bottoming out from 2010 to 11. I think home prices actually bottomed from statistically when you look at the graphs, maybe 2011, 12. Was like the official bottom before it rose. So that's the long story. So maybe you could cut out some of that.
Well, I was just about to ask now. So when are you guys breaking into the lucrative asphalt market? Really just bring this thing, full circle.
You
never know.
Never say never.
Yeah.
Never say never.
It's kind of like, Stockholm's like, I kind of miss it. The desert, the asphalt, the whole.
I'd take a trip to Vegas with you, Zach.
Yeah.
If you want.
No, well, rumor has it that maybe
Actually, all three of us are going to be in Vegas.
Yeah, maybe we're all
Yeah.
we're all gonna make some bad decisions on it.
Yeah.
I'll bring
Take some nice
asphalt.
jobs.
Yeah. Hey, could you show us the old stomping grounds in the asphalt center and just really see if your work has held up over the last 10 years? We actually, I think you telling your story is a great, kind of segue into what we wanted to bring you on today, was talk about your team and what it takes to actually grow a team and have a great team. And so it really helps set the context of, you obviously took a risk, start a business. And I have a feeling that that's why you value your employees as much as you probably do, because it was just you, and it helps you really appreciate it. So, we obviously at Buildertrend as well try to really embrace a positive workplace. They give us a ton of perks for working here on top of free food and, the bar. If you ever come to BTU, I'd love to hear kind of your perspective on how you prevent things like, burnout or toxic workplace environment, mental health. How do you handle that as a small business owner?
Oh man, I'll tell you it's hard.
Yeah.
Because the crux of a small business, and even a lot of businesses, I would bet you the founders of Buildertrend would even say the same thing until they found maybe the right key players, is that you sometimes feel, because I say that because Buildertrend, you guys it's a big business now, but the crux of a small business is that sometimes you feel and you have to learn and almost reinvent the wheel sometimes until you get to a point that you're like asking the right people the right questions and getting the right answers, right? Because you're too nimble and small and don't have enough money to just pay a consultant the first year or two. And there are great companies are starting to come up that have these consulting fees and consulting programs that are getting a little bit more nimble and maybe like intro into these smaller businesses. But the first couple of years, you kind of have to learn some hard lessons. And I think it's twofold. One, maybe you can't, you don't think you can afford like a consultant or a mentor or whatever. And two, sometimes that's just life. Like, you've got to learn the hard lessons. That's why then it brands it into your body. And you're like, okay, I'll never do that again because that sucked. And I'll make sure of it. And I'm going to, do what. So I've learned a lot of lessons with employees. And this year is tough. I would say I haven't seen numbers, but I would bet you a lot of people have probably shifted gears out of construction. I don't remember a more difficult time in construction ever. In 2008 to 2012, the market was tough. But what's wild is in 2013, or maybe I started this house in 12, I built a full-fledged, custom, beautiful home, crazy details in like 5.5 months because I got so many quality craftsmen to show up at that house because there's no work. Right now, we're in a time that everybody has been so pushed to the max, and so many subcontractors and laborers and craftsmen have left the market from the last crash that now we're dealing with, we were with such a small labor pool and such a demand of housing that it's pushed everybody to the absolute limits. And so the things you're talking about, mental health, being, how to rejuvenate your love for construction. It has been, I think everybody could probably get in a room, every contractor, subcontractor, and be like, hell yeah, this sucks this year. These last 2 years, maybe the money sounded like it was going to be good, but it has been brutal. So I think it's an important topic. I'm just setting that premise, and I think everybody would agree that. And I've had people quit, and I've had people actually move industries because it's tough. Now, that's my premise. Now let's get into the nitty gritty, right? Here's one hard lesson I learned. You, as a boss, you never, at least I didn't. It took me a long time to realize, hey, Joe, you're the freaking boss. So when you say, hey, that was a dumb idea, I could have said it just like that, like pretty soft, like, hey, that was kind of a dumb idea what you did. That carries like a 100-pound sledgehammer with it. And I could be super chill. And just like I said, like, hey, that was a dumb idea. And I said it in front of everybody. All of a sudden that sounds like, and I've said that, or I've said things like that, maybe a little more intense. I'm kind of being lighter for the podcast.
Yeah, be nice to the podcast host. We're sensitive.
Yeah, right.
Especially Charley.
But I've done those things, and people have come back and been like, "You embarrassed me so bad in front of everybody." And you're like, "Bro, I was just telling you, like, that was not a good idea." And like, you're just running and gunning, and you don't realize, wow, like etiquette, like I can't correct people in front of other people. Like I want to, and supers can do that, and managers can do that, but the boss, as soon as your team starts growing, you have to really like, I got that visualization of Harry Potter and like the sorting hat. Like I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, but for some reason I just got that like you are now knighted the boss. And it's hard to really like knight yourself. Like I am the, commander in chief. What I say, people listen. And maybe I'm not trying to sound like ultra humble, but it's hard. It was hard for me to really be like, okay, like that's my role, and people want to hear what I say, and they all like me and listen to me because I'm the boss, not just because that they think I'm a cool guy, but it's because I'm the boss. and so I think one is being super careful on how you correct people, how you treat people openly in public, and how you correct them. The one-on-one time, I really have learned over the years, is super important. People crave that from, and it's not like they're needy, but people just want to know, what are they supposed to do, and when are they doing it wrong, and when are they doing it right, and they want to know those things in private so they can have job satisfaction. And I mean, I'm sure you guys could speak to that too. Everyone can. Is like when you don't have job satisfaction, you feel like the clients don't like me. The subcontractors are really tough right now because the projects are delayed, and you can't find satisfaction in your job. You're going to quit. You're going to move on. And I've seen that happen in our industry that right now, that people are like, jobs are delayed, they're over budget, and they're really difficult to get done. And if your boss is also yelling at you, why would you stay? I mean, I know we're passionate about construction, but you've got to find the silver lining. And so I think we try really hard to celebrate the small wins and to try to not sweat like the small stuff and move on, like correct it, but be like, okay, it's time to move on. You asked 3 questions, and I now forgot the other 2.
Well, I kind of have a habit of asking multiple layered questions. That's an area of improvement, boss, of where I could get better at my podcasting.
That was a dumb.
My marketing
Zach.
friends are looking at me like, "See, told you, told you."
We actually,
You flipped that on me.
No, that was a great answer to the question about how do you promote positivity. And I think availability of the leader is really important. I know, not to humble brag about myself, I am really busy. I make an hour for every one of my employees in my team a week, which is a significant investment, but I feel like similarly it gets them the transparency they're looking for, the availability, because then I know if I miss them in the week, I have that time. We can always shorten it, but I have noticed big productivity boosts from them when I put the time to spend with them. So I think that's crucial to really getting people to feel like they're part of something, or they believe in the person who's leading them, and not just on an island when we all have a lot of stuff going on even internally at Buildertrend.
Yeah, to kind of piggyback off that, Joe, I had a question for you. You've been around since 2011. You started with your love story with your roommate, founded the business. Like obviously you guys were close and had that trust and connection to like go through this. But
what was in that dorm room? Love was in the air.
As you grow your team out, I think you said you had 12 full time or maybe 11. How do you ensure you go from working with your best friend who you trust to hiring people to work for you and growing a team out? How do you keep that close collaboration and that trust to actually feel like a team and not just an employer?
I love that question.
That's a great question. Wow.
Thanks, guys.
Well, I will piggyback first and foremost, I think you've got one, you've already said it, right? We've already talked about it. The one-on-one time is super important. I think to create, as cheesy as it is, because the buzzword for culture, company culture, has been around for the last decade or two about trying to find what company culture is, right?
Bonus points for synergy.
Yeah, right. And like there's books, there's books about it. I can't remember what the book was called. The Zappos guy book I read that he talked. I can't remember what that book is called. Anyway. But what I do think, something you can't fake in company culture is that you actually have to care about your employees. Like, if you don't, then you can have all the greatest company culture. You can be clashing with people. I say clashing, but that's you can have these run-ins with people. You can spend time with them. But if you actually don't care, and there's a feeling of I'm just a peg in a hole or a hammer hitting this nail until this job's done, they will sniff that out quick, right? People do that. We're all very great human beings and being able to spot a fake. And I think first and foremost, you have to care. And once you care and say like, hey, like I'm taking on this person, this is their career. Everyone wants a career. People want stability. Nobody wants to move from job to job. So what are you doing as a boss to make sure, or an owner of a company, to make sure that one, they're taken care of and they have a vision, your vision aligns with their vision. And so like, I look at that and I hear that question and I think I look back and go, the first employees I brought on, they believed. I sold this vision hard because one of them, my office manager, I interviewed him in the townhome in Kansas City that I was renting in the basement that was unfinished. And there was like little tiny windows that were really bad. Like there's no daylight. We were officing out of my townhome. And I mean, there would be mornings that I would forget to unlock the front door and they would be like texting me like, hey, could you let us in? And my wife would answer and it was awkward. And like, he was a believer. And I think he sensed our like Adam and I's genuine care for people. And over the years we have, we have continued to make him a believer by putting our mouth where, put our money where our mouth is, supporting him and his family, having him see that this is a career, something he can enjoy and make money at, and have other benefits, and share in the successes, and get passionate about things. So I think I think it can't be a fake, and you got to really care about these people and understand that people are an asset, but I think at the same time, if you want people to stay long and believe in something, you have to paint that. You have to have a vision, and you have to care about them, and be able to paint that vision. And the right people will jump on board. Social media is really good for that, to kind of help paint that vision. I was talking to a potential employee today, and he's like, I feel like I already know you, and you're really honest on social media, and I really appreciate that, because I want an honest boss that can tell me what's going on. And it was actually really cool. Like, I felt like we had the most productive phone call interview I've ever had, because he follows me on social media, and we were just really open with each other. And how many interviews have you had? The first interview, you're like super open because he like feels he already knows me. So.
Well, first off, sounds like he's getting the job.
Yeah.
Hope this doesn't air and mess up the timelines
right.
on that. The second thing, we actually saw your social media post. You did a video with John Beck, to our producer, about kind of your team promotion and the fun of the build, and it was hilarious. I was like, I want to go hang out on the job site and just goof around, and have a good time. So I'm sure that really builds a lot of chemistry amongst your group, and you guys are pretty witty. I was cracking up, I'll be honest.
We definitely have fun with it. I think I sometimes get crap for the lightheartedness from like people I know. They're like, what does clients say when they see these videos of you guys goofing off? And I'm like, you know what? I think they realize that we work hard, we play hard, and trust me, any one of us can go on site and yell at people. Right? That's the norm in construction.
Right.
I don't think people are looking for that. They're looking for something different. And if you can't find a way to make things a little bit lighthearted and what we deal with every day, then I think you're going to get burnt out. And that's the conversation we're having right now.
What about, specifically, I guess, when is this aired? December sometime? I don't know. We'll say December sometime. Holiday seasons, do you guys do anything kind of special for the team? Do you have a holiday party or any outings, any things like that?
So I will say that this is what's crazy. We used to try to do, like, before the run up of these last 2 years, we were like really good at doing like monthly outings. And we were doing it was getting kind of crazy. Like, we were doing rock climbing, we go to Top Golf, we go bowling, we just have an outing every month. And Adam's like the chief fun officer. He's really good at planning and making sure it happens.
Oh, I want that job.
But we got so busy, and people actually, like, chief officer of fun. So people started getting stressed out about the outing, and saying, you know what, like, can we not do this today? And it kind of sucked some of the energy out.
Yeah.
And so we stopped that.
That's really funny.
And we just recently said, we've got to pick it back up and maybe not just do it once a quarter. So anyway, we try to have a lot of fun. And during closing days or the day after closings, the week after, we like to have lunches all together. We take the team to lunch. I think it's important. We're having a holiday party or a year-end party. And we're gonna, have a big dinner and talk about the company. But it's important that different team members, as you grow as a company, to like run into each other outside of, hey, interior designer, have we ordered the countertops? Why not? Where are they at? Like, because PMs will walk in and be super direct, just like that. Hey, my countertop company said it's not templated. What the heck? Isn't that your job? Now, they might not say it like that, but they're running and gunning. And so that, sometimes we can talk really eloquently and nicely and politely, but in the heat of the day, it's just hard. And so I think those outings make it kind of put the human back into construction sometimes, because I think we get short with each other here too. It's just like, we get close enough that we kind of are our own family, and sometimes we can treat our own family worse than we treat other people, because we're used to them.
Right.
We're just like, we're bold. I mean, even I think of that with my kids and my wife. Sometimes I could be like super bold and say something like just cut to the chase, because we do that as inside our own company. So the more we can do those things, go out to lunch, laugh with each other, goof off and have fun, I think you start to humanize again and be like, okay, cool. Like, that guy, that PM doesn't really hate me. He's just direct when he comes in the office, because he's only got 30 minutes in the office. He's got to run back outside.
Do you guys do any community work to kind of build team, or how do you guys give back to your community and your business?
So we've donated a lot in just like cash, and I don't like it. So this year we are getting involved in like this, it's like rebuilding. It's called like, I can't remember what this exact charity is called. We just did a charity event with them, and it's like Rebuilding Clay County, they call it, or something like that. And they have a day, and we're assigned a couple homes. They have a day or a couple weekends that you go and you just, you might be adding ADA ramps, doing new flooring, fixing up these people's homes where they can't do it themselves or can't afford to do it. And so I actually was given a great idea. We hit our 10-year mark. Was it? Gosh, 2011, I guess last year. And I missed it by saying, by not doing it, but someone said, "You hit your 10-year, this is the time to start giving back, maybe you'll make it your thing." So we're trying to, that's how we're starting it, and we've got it, it's coming up. And so that's what we're doing, a rebuilding Clay County event, and we want to make it something that we do every year. Because it's something we do already. We know how to build, we know how to do those, and be able to rub shoulders with each other while we were helping out. So we have not done like a lot of it, and I'm kind of ashamed of that, because I feel like giving back like that and doing it as a company, I got the idea from somebody else, and they shared all their experiences that they do that with and how much they love doing it. And it's such like a big team building exercise. And looking back, I've always just like, some of charity wants to raise money, we'll go there, we'll donate. But to build company culture, I think there's something special about being with your team and giving back to people who, and a lot of times some of these charities just need time. I know the money's great, but I think if there's anything right now, a lot of times people need the hands-on to get things done. So
I will say my favorite team outing that we've done the past 3 years, other than karaoke, of course, was we do a community garden once a year.
Oh,
and
cool.
It's 8 hours, get there 8 a.m., leave at 5. We typically the past 2 years have picked like the hottest day of the entire year to do it, unfortunately. But
I'm sure on purpose.
It's just awesome from a team building, like especially it's probably a little different when we're sitting at a desk every day, but going out there and getting your hands dirty and like giving back to the community, like I grow far closer to my teammates doing that than going out to a bar or going Top Golf or something. So I think you kind of hit the nail on the head right there.
It's really hard to force yourself though to do that again as a small company. Larger companies
Right.
are almost like always have the leg up on that.
Yeah.
And as a small company, you feel like, I don't have time for that, right? And it's like everything, like you don't have time for anything. Nobody has time to work out every morning, but they just do it. They schedule it and it gets done and it becomes a habit, And that's been like my thought about, I've been really bad about it. And this year we're starting to do that. And I agree. I think it's something you just got to do. You make it part of it. And that's company culture in general. You make it just something you do monthly, quarterly, whatever. And it becomes part of what you guys do all the time, or your team.
Yeah. Well, area of growth in 2023 for all of us. But Speaking of which, in the turn of the year, we have the International Builder Show. We've talked about it a little bit in January. You excited? What are your plans for what topics are you going to be covering? We know you're going to be joining our team on a panel like you did last year. If you remember, there was some tension because Charley was going to be there last year, and this year we're shooting a podcast at IBS, we'll all get a meet. So sound. Put the sound effects in, John. So tell us, what are you looking forward to?
Oh, I think the Builder Show is super fun, especially since like social media has become a big thing with like contractors too. And I say a big thing. There's so many contractors. Some of the greatest contractors I know are still not on social media. But it's super fun seeing like colleagues that you just know over social media, and you get to see them once a year at the Builder Show. So I think I really enjoy that part of it. Beyond the great food in Vegas, there is some awesome food, and I do enjoy that part as well. But seeing the other builders and joking and talking about the things they're going through, I think really help. And it's all part of this discussion we're having right now, is that it really helps to like hear from somebody who you feel has it all together, right? Because there's some really glamorous, speaking about Fergie, it's some really glamorous, social media accounts there that sometimes that's the worst thing about social media is it looks like, man, that guy's got his crap together. Look at those homes. Look at that project. That looks awesome. But when you get to sit down with people and especially at like a builder show like that, I try to be super open in those moments to say, yeah, like discuss the hard things, discuss the good things, not try to go down a negative like spiral, but just be real and say, what are the good things and what are the bad things? And that's really cool. Seeing the vendors, learning some about the new products is super cool. Getting to know your vendors if they're there from your local areas is always fun. The education is awesome. I plan out my days on some of the education that I want. Something like they used to call them like master classes or something like that. Those are really cool. And then the panel will be fun. I had a really fun time the last time we did that panel. And it was funny. I still to this day on that panel I shared about like I just got like this gnarliest review on this home, and it was a beautiful home, but the client just ate us up. and I shared about that story, and so many people in that room looked up the review because I told them, I was like, the review's on there. They totally looked at that, and to this day I still get comments like, dude, remember that review? Or like, I just reread your review because I had a tough client. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I'm your bar of people ripping me. And it was funny, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed like just like making those friendships and to see those people again. It's kind of like a good, it's become a good, like a reunion every year.
Yeah, I'm excited to go back. It'll be my second time. Charlie's first. That panel is going to be hosted by our CEO, Dan Houghton. It's going to be called Don't Make My Mistake. It's going to be 9:30 on the Tuesday morning session with Brad Levitt and Heather Tankersley. So, Joe, we're really excited to see you down there. We're about out of time. We really appreciate you joining us here on the Building Code. And we will see you down in Vegas.
Can't wait. Hopefully everything that happens in Vegas is kosher. Just leave Vegas.
We'll be sure to leave a review about it on your social media.
If not, put it there. That's where everyone else airs their grievances. Building with me or not, that's where they go.
Yeah, we really appreciate talking to you about how you build your team culture. It was really great tips for me and things that maybe we can continue to work on together in 2023.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you guys so much. It's been a blast.
Charlie, my guy, we just had Joe Christensen from Cardinal Crest Home. Always an absolute amazing experience because we have so much fun. It's just so fun to joke. He just kind of brings out the charm in all of us, and that's awesome.
I feel like he brought out like the mean in you. You had like several backhanded compliments. And snarky remarks in that episode.
Careful there, Charles.
But
I warned you. It's Friday.
Yeah,
it's
you are in a little Friday mood.
And
Joe was great. To be honest, I was a little intimidated. I follow him on all his socials.
You do.
They make a ton of awesome content, but he's kind of a celebrity in my eyes. So got through that interview without sweating too much.
Well, that's what I love about Joe is humility. I mean, he brings up his worst review on Google on Cardinal Crest.
Well, you mentioned it in the interview, but just in case people didn't miss it, the panel he is on at IBS, what's it called? Like Learn from My Mistakes or something? Yep. So I think that's going to be incredible. I'm excited I get to be there live this year. It's going to be great. But his entire message, that entire interview was, one of humility and empathy, honestly. Like, it's not just a business, it's a family, and these are real people and real lives, and your goal should be to make your family as happy as possible. It's not just work. You're not just getting work done. You're not just building houses. You're not just yelling. And so that was really, really refreshing to hear going into the season of thanks. And really enjoyed the interview. Really enjoyed him. It was great.
Yep.
Those are my thoughts.
I wanted to give one last joke, but apparently you'll interpret it as me being rude. So on that, don't forget to check out at the International.
Now I got to hear the joke.
I don't even remember my mother's favorite quality of me is my snarkiness. So there's something out of there. I don't even remember. Black out before.
All right, Zachary, let's wrap it up.
Don't forget about the International Builder Show roundtable that we're going to be hosting with Dan Houghton. Don't make my mistake. Charlie just referenced it. 9:30 on Tuesday morning. Go check it out with Brad Levitt and Heather Tankersley. We'll check you out there. You guys have a great rest of your day. I'm Zach Witovich.
I'm Charlie Burtwhistle. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching the video. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel for exclusive content brought to you by Buildertrend.